In this video, we're going to be providing an update on our favourite Love is Blind couples. What are the couples and singles up to now? Have Lauren and Cameron managed to last through quarantine? And what's this shocking revelation about Barnett and Amber? After dumping Giannina at the altar and then getting back together, what's happened now between Giannina and Damian? So many questions, let's dive in. We'll start with the couple that nobody paid much attention to because they seem so stable and vanilla. I mean, who finds stability interesting these days? Kenny and Kelly seem just like their names, two perfect peas in a pod, rarely arguing, often laughing awkwardly with each other and voicing zero concerns. While everyone else was flapping around trying to get a handle on themselves, Kenny and Kelly seemed relaxed and dependable. It was almost to the point where you could ignore them in the series because their nuptials seemed like a given. Even the parent introduction couldn't have gone any smoother.
Well, I have to say, when Kenny came in and we started talking today, and he's just a breath of fresh air. He's just delightful.
They also didn't have as much of a pod foundation as the other couples. I mean, a lot of the screen time was dedicated to Jessica and Amber's drama, so we only really started getting to know Kenny and Kelly outside of the pods. The bombshell moment for these two came right at the end when Kelly said, "I don't."
But I don't.
To say this was out of left field would be a massive understatement. None of us were expecting that. The only slight inkling we had of any trouble in paradise was when Kelly had earlier confessed that she didn't feel any attraction towards Kenny.
And that's why I keep saying like I'm not in love with him, because I feel like if I was in love, like I would have that infatuation, like nothing else matters.
Would you have talked to him if you saw him before?
No, I probably wouldn't.
Her family did love him though, which was why she went along with it, hoping that things would change. After the show, Kenny put up an Instagram post claiming that the couple had in fact made an agreement that they wouldn't get married, which seems weird seeing as how he was so heartbroken at the time.
And please stop recording this, because it's not, that's wrong.
What?
What you're asking me. I'm not gonna have things filmed. Please stop recording, Jimmy. It's very upsetting.
And in fact, show producer Chris Coelen has gone on record saying that Kenny was just trying to save face, and he was genuinely upset at Kelly's decision. It certainly seemed like he was upset, don't you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Was he just saving face, or did they really have an agreement beforehand? What do you think? Whatever happened, it turns out he couldn't have been that upset. At the show reunion, he revealed that he was seeing someone else, and in August 2020, he whipped out a 4-carat emerald ring and proposed to his girlfriend, Alexandra Garrison. As for life coach Kelly, she's single and loving life. At the beginning of August, she posted a caption about single women in the 30+ club who feel the pressure of harder pregnancy and of not meeting their childhood goals. Her message, quote, "You're exactly where you're supposed to be." And although they've taken very different paths, Kelly and Kenny have both moved on and seem to be doing well, which is more than can be said for our next couple. From day one, Jessica brought us drama. She was torn between two guys, Barnett and Mark. Who can forget the coy baby voice she used with Barnett?
Is it true that you still feel the same way you felt last night about me?
Or the time she gave her dog Peyton some wine mid-conversation with Mark. Just when she thought things were going well with Barnett, he switched lanes and confessed his feelings for Amber. And as a result, Jess turned her sights onto Mark, who ended up proposing to her. While Mark seemed nice enough, Jess appeared reluctant about the relationship from the very beginning, often mentioning their age difference as a major factor. 24-year-old Mark seemed far too young for 34-year-old Jessica.
We have a kid, and I'm like 36.
You look good.
You're 26.
At one point, Jessica was convinced that Mark's mother would disapprove, but she was absolutely fine with it, which seemed to leave Jessica slightly disappointed.
I met this girl, her name is Jessica. She's a little bit older than me. I thought, oh, that's great.
And as the show progressed, it became more and more obvious that Jessica's biggest weakness was the wine. The more she drank, the harder it became for her to control her motor mouth. More than once, she got drunk and tried to start fights with Mark. She also threw herself at Barnett, who seemed very uncomfortable with the whole situation.
Do you feel like you guys are emotionally connected? Like I want to make sure that y'all are there. Nothing will ever break the bond we made.
I know.
Literally.
We had a friendship.
To be honest, the show didn't paint Jessica in a great light, and after the finale, in which she chose not to marry Mark, she decided to take a step back from the limelight. Jessica and Mark hadn't spoken since their supposed wedding day. Nearly a year and a half went by with no words exchanged between the two former lovers. Remember, the show was actually filmed nearly 2 years before it hit our screens, so while we were watching what may have seemed to be current, it was actually a few years old. After filming ended, Mark and Jessica both went their separate ways, and Jessica is now dating Benjamin McGrath, a foot and ankle surgeon. The couple spent quarantine together and have been dating for about 7 months. But wait, before you feel sorry for poor innocent Mark, get a load of this. 3 months after the show aired on Netflix, it was reported that Mark was dating Lauren Elsie Chamberlain, another cast member from the show. However, Elsie found out that Mark was cheating from a Reddit post. A Reddit user posted a picture of Mark with another woman under the title, "My close friend's co-worker is dating Mark," and Elsie saw it, commenting that she'd been seeing him at the same time. Needless to say, she ended their relationship shortly after. Mark is now seeing Aubrey Rainey, and the two have recently got a dog together. They've called her Nova, and she's adorable. As for whether or not it's a serious relationship, it's kind of too early to tell, but watch this space. Moving on, let's talk about Diamond and Carlton. Things seemed to be going swimmingly for these two, and then it wasn't. The pod connection and proposal was genuine, and so was the initial period in Mexico. They both shared that they'd been hurt before, and they were now ready for a more settled life of marriage and children.
You make me feel like I won't have to hide anything. I won't have to be anybody other than Carlton.
That was until Carlton confessed that he had something that he needed to share with Diamond, something that he was afraid to bring up in the pods.
In the past, I have dated both genders.
In hindsight, it really should have been brought up way back then. It's what the pods were all about, getting to know each other without boundaries. But when Carlton opened up to Diamond about being sexually fluid and seeing both men and women, she was initially calm and understanding, but disappointed that he hadn't been honest with her earlier. She asked for some time to think things through. Unfortunately, it seemed like years of rejection and insecurities came up in the moment for Carlton. He threw some hurtful, scathing words in her direction and then threw her ring in the pool.
Hey, you're not the one. Your ring back. I don't give a about a ring. A ring. A ring. This is why I don't deal with like you.
Diamond, for her part, threw her drink in his face and exited by quoting some choice Beyonce lyrics, proving without a shadow of a doubt that there's a badass Beyonce line for just about any situation.
Watch my ass to the next dick, boy.
No, watch your wig, because it keeps sliding. It's been sliding since day one.
I am?
Your wig been sliding since day one.
Average
Peace out.
Anyway, back to Diamond and Carlton. The drama continued in the press, with Carlton going as far as to say that he'd received death threats. He also apologised publicly, even getting down on one knee at the finale to propose a friendship.
I'm going to get down on one knee and just apologize again at eye level.
Diamond accepted the apologies, and then Carlton turned around again and said that what she did was wrong, he was just being honest with her, and she should have given him a chance. While it seemed like they'd made up at the reunion, Diamond blocked Carlton shortly afterwards. In an interview with TMZ, she said, quote,
"The reason why I blocked Carlton was the fact that after the reunion, Carlton was being very foul-mouthed against me on all his social media pages.
After being blocked, Carlton again backtracked and wanted to apologise, going as far as to appeal to his followers to help him to get through to her, as he could no longer send her any messages. Unfortunately, so far at least, Diamond has refused to unblock him. As for her, she's currently filming a new virtual live online dating reality show, Faraway Bay, in which she'll be going on a series of virtual dates over the course of a week, eliminating someone each night, and hopefully by the end of the week, she'll be meeting up with her one true love. Judging by how often Carlton still continues to talk about Diamond on his social media channels, it seems he's not over how it all played out. And in fact, he's also been pleading for a shot on the second season of Love is Blind, which is apparently going to include contestants with fluid sexuality. Now, let's talk about Giannina and Damian. When these two first met, it seemed like a fairy tale. Giannina opened up about her struggles with love and how she'd push away and self-sabotage so that she wouldn't end up getting hurt. Damian played the perfect support system. He listened, he promised to be there for her, he promised to love her, he proposed, but then Giannina told him to stand up. We thought she was about to break his heart. Instead, she proposed. She wanted to show him that she was ready to let her guard down and let love in.
And what I want you to do is I want you to stand up. So I want to ask you, Damian Powers, will you marry me?
And then, after all that, he said, "I don't," at the altar, embarrassing her in front of all of her friends and family. Why did he do it?
Will you love her, comfort her, honor and keep her, so long as you both shall live?
Well, the truth was, Giannina and Damian's courtship was rocky from the start. Remember the time that she called out his bedroom talents, or lack thereof?
You know how you tell me this is the best sex of your life? Have you noticed that I don't return the compliment?
Or when he said that he doesn't initiate sex or seduce her because their relationship is so up and down that it just doesn't turn him on.
I've never initiated with you. You've always initiated it with me.
That's the problem. Thank you so much. Why? Why don't you initiate it? Why don't you seduce me?
After trying his best to rekindle the spark, he decided that now just wasn't the time to get married. At the reunion, they confessed, however, that they had reunited and were still dating.
Raise your hand if you're currently in a relationship with your fiance from the experiment.
Huh?
Okay!
And judging by their latest posts, 2 years later, they are still going strong. Giannina recently moved into her new apartment and Damian proved his love by surprising her with all the equipment that she needs for her own home studio.
So I got something for you.
What'd you do now?
Close your eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, don't just peek.
Okay, fine.
Ready?
Yes. Oh my God.
Whoa.
I got my own little studio.
Yeah, so then you do all your filming and stuff. So,
Yeah.
and then we can make this your new, like, quarantine wall, like to do your videos and
My
to
new
interact with your
studio.
fans.
We're in my new studio.
Yeah.
All in all, despite the initial explosiveness and the fact that they're not married yet, it seems like this is actually one of the more stable relationships to have come out of the show. Which begs the question, why did Damian leave Giannina at the altar? Well, he claims he wanted to give her the chance to feel free. He said, quote, "I made the decision I did and it was because I wanted to make sure that marriage is forever. She already had this thing with her parents where they were divorced. It was really hard on her growing up and I didn't want that to happen again." Speaking of divorce, let's talk about Amber and Barnett. You want to know the most shocking part of the whole Love is Blind saga? Well, brace yourself. It's this. Barnett's real name isn't Barnett, it's Matthew. I know, right? Anyway, what with Barnett's indecision and also Amber's quirkiness, which was definitely an acquired taste, viewers didn't have high hopes for these two, but they've proved us wrong at every turn. Barnett had two other women interested in him, Jessica and Elsie, who both felt that he had led them on. And even after he was in a committed couple, Barnett continued to turn down Jessica's countless advances. Amber handled Jessica coming onto her boyfriend with just enough sass to scare her, but enough class to keep things civil.
But if I felt like she stepped over the line one more time, I would break her face.
If you were to ever actively go after my husband,
who
I
is
would destroy
Nike's
your life.
That was until the reunion show when Amber finally confronted Jessica. All the while, Barnett awkwardly looked like he just wanted the earth to open up and swallow him whole. Hey, at least she's honest and upfront. No one can deny her that.
To see her throwing herself at him in Mexico, you're shiesty. You're so fake. That is not what the world needs, is women that go behind people's backs like that. You were engaged to another man that you were leading on. He was engaged. He made his choice.
The truth was, these two definitely seemed like they had a lot riding against them. For example, Amber confessing her student loan debt to Barnett. Or Amber meeting Barnett's hesitant family and still going in very much full on, in typical honest, out there Amber style.
Beer?
Salute.
Yep.
No, I'm kidding.
Or Barnett getting cold feet as the wedding drew closer. Or Barnett's brothers making him second guess his decision. Or Amber not actually having a job but still spending exorbitant amounts of time and money on makeup and clothes. You see, it definitely felt like the odds were stacked up against them. But 2 years later and they're still married and going strong. The two live together in their home in Atlanta, Georgia. They love playing Pokemon Go and they've made it through quarantine together. They also have a dog named Coda, and by all accounts, they're still madly in love. Just like Netflix always seems to do, we've saved the best for last. When Lauren and Cameron confessed their love 30 minutes into the show, we all rolled our eyes and realised that this was going to be a ridiculous Netflix special, and yet we stuck around. There was something about Lauren and Cameron that seemed so genuine and fun. We all wanted to be part of it. Cameron never wavered in his devotion to Lauren, but he was all ears when she voiced her concerns and her fears. And for her part, Lauren was honest about the big commitment from the beginning, and also about how her father's opinion of Cameron would make or break their relationship. I've got to say, I'm not sure if you agree, but for me, it was actually refreshing to actually have a sense of normality amidst all the craziness of the show. I felt like these two were just normal people. Watching Cameron and Lauren's relationship blossom was one of the highlights of the show. Hearts melted across the world when Cameron showed Lauren his spare room in his huge house, and he said she could use it for a studio. In turn, she turned around and said they could use it for their future children. I mean, how can you not love that? That was so cute.
Quite large, sir. It's very nice though, very southern. Like seeing this and thinking about the future and like, oh, this could be a kid's room. Oh.
You know, I'm so happy to hear Lauren say that she could think of the empty room in my house as a kid's room.
And who can forget the nail-biting and frosty reception when Cameron first met Lauren's dad, with her dad quizzing him about his experiences dating black women.
I guess it's simple and the shortcut to say you're a white guy, she's a black woman. Let's talk about that. Have you ever been in a room full of black people?
Of course.
Just you young white guy there?
Of course.
I mean, that's a hell of a question, but it's real.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, how awkward, your future father-in-law quizzing you about your dating history. Both Cameron and Lauren were both stylish, career-driven and successful. She had her own apartment and he had his own house. They fit into each other's lives perfectly. Perhaps one of the best moments was seeing the two families coming together at the wedding and dancing the night away to their favourite songs. As for the current day, the Hamiltons are more in love than ever. Lauren moved into Cameron's house, and the two currently run a YouTube channel called Hanging with the Hamiltons, where they upload videos about their daily antics and their dog named Mr. Sparks. It definitely seems from their videos like Lauren brings out a goofy side to serious Cameron that we didn't really get to see in the show. And it really does seem like these two are a match made in heaven, or more accurately, a match made in a really small windowless pod. So, which of these couples was your favourite on the show? Who are you happiest to hear about? I guess overall, it seems like the Love is Blind contestants fared far better than anyone actually expected. 2 couples got married and 3 couples are still together nearly 2 years later, all of which fares way better than our other favourite reality show, 90 Day Fiancé. If you haven't already seen our update videos on what's happening to some of our favourite 90 Day Fiancé couples since the cameras stopped rolling, I'll include a few videos for you to check out now. Thanks for watching, catch you on the next video.